Thank God.
Yeah, you guys there.
Ball never lies.
Did that one go
Ball
in?
never
Check
lies.
the footage on that one. Stealing candy. It's like stealing candy from me. Look at the little dog. 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 Alright.
Change.
Yo, why are we swapping sides? You guys suck. It's 7 games now. Let's make one thing clear. Antonio has played a series with everyone. He's played 3 with him. He's lost every single one.
Because
who's the problem?
They are afraid to play with the GOAT. Yeah, I'm the GOAT.
There it is. He's going himself. Look at it. He scores on himself.
Yeah, I'm the GOAT.
He lost every game in football. There's no way that we could let the loser actually do the intro.
I'm not even surprised, dude.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Italian Football TV. We only have the 3 of us for today because we're the 3 committed ones, as Antonio always says.
Committed ones.
The committed ones, right, Antonio? He said he's gonna give a pink slip to the rest. I want to ask you right off the spot because every single week I just keep getting more and more impressed with the team named Napoli. They are, along with Atalanta, the only 2 teams in Serie A. They're still unbeaten in every competition. And if we include the rest of the top 4, the top 5 leagues, PSG and Real Madrid. Are Napoli the best team in Europe? Are they the most entertaining team in Europe?
That's an easy question, Marco. Yes and yes and yes with everything else coming on. They're amazing. They're beating everyone, not by just 1 goal, by multiple goals. And they're doing it with rotating players also. They didn't have Osimhen for a while. Now he just came back. And he's also scoring when they come back. So it looks like Spalletti's building a well-oiled machine and definitely the most entertaining in Europe and Serie A.
What do you think makes this team actually so special, Anto?
Well, they have the right mix and they have no leadership right now in terms of who's in charge on the locker room in terms of the player. And I think that's allowing everybody to just have a lot more freedom to be, everybody's becoming a leader of that. They play as a team for the first time. I see them just the fluidity on the game and I see them relax. Nobody, I guess, reports to anybody. I don't think Spalletti is a leader either. I mean, everybody feeds off each other, health and strength and skills. I mean, you have nothing but great players over there playing the game. We didn't know about this Kvara. We didn't know about a couple other people. Yeah, Kim.
He's unbelievable. By the way, Kvara, one-on-one dribbling. He is one of the best I've seen. Like, we don't get many players like that in Serie A. Every single time he gets the ball, he really reminds me of Chiesa in a way, in terms of like that he's direct towards goal. Like, he's never backwards. He doesn't think to go backwards because he trusts in his ability. He's technically very skilled, and he's always just got this confidence about him with the ball at his feet that he's always looking to be progressive and towards the goal, and that's what makes him like one of the most exciting players in Serie A. And the fact that you mix him with those other players that understand and read the game and know how to take space, because I think what they do better than anything else is taking space. And that's one thing that Kvara excels at.
And Kvara could have had like 10 assists against Bologna. He sets up his teammates perfectly. His through balls, his crosses, he has great football IQ. And if his teammates could have finished those, he would have had a lot more assists. He's just so fun to watch.
Well,
Is he better one-on-one dribbler than Leao?
You can compare. I don't think you would.
We have
What
to
do you mean?
compare.
I would say no,
Leao is better.
No, I think Kvara's definitely better.
Leao is better.
You guys already know the deal. No one brings you closer to Serie A than One Football. They are the sponsors of our podcast. They've been supporting us for some time. As you know, they are doing these drops of digital video moments. And this week, there's another. Mike, we always ask you every single weekend.
I do.
You always choose terrible goals. Which one do you want to
The thing is, not even just about goals, Marco. That's where you make the big mistake. It's about saves, about passes, the assists, the celebrations.
So prove me wrong. So what are you going to choose instead of a goal?
But I am going to pick a goal only because my boy, Yorgos Kyriakopoulos, my Greek legend that been playing left wing for Sassuolo, who's usually a defender. He scored an absolute golazo.
It was a good goal.
Volley, and it hit the top. Oh, absolutely.
For a defender, that was an amazing goal too. I mean, for anyone, it's an amazing goal.
Sportiello was looking at the butterflies after that.
You see, the Italians, they got to assist the Greeks. D'Andrea
was
that was a nice little IFTV connection between Mike and Marco. I'm gonna go with Dusan Vlahovic because he needed a goal. I want the celebration, him flying.
It was like a rebound, bro. It was like a rebound.
We even said, we posted it, Air Vlahovic, and he posted on his story.
That's
so
right.
I got to give my boy some love. If not a goal, that's what I said.
Air Vlahovic, you said.
All right, sorry. If not a goal, I'll choose one of Kvara's chops.
Okay.
I want to see one of those shots. His dribbling is unbelievable.
That's
one of the
fair.
best in the league. Maybe, now I'll say better than Rafael Leao. That'll cause some controversy. Antonio's behind the camera,
Going
pissed
crazy
off,
right
screaming
now.
at me. Anyway, thank you to OneFootball. Guys, make sure the link is at the top of our description.
That's
And
right.
now, let's return to the podcast.
Leao is by far
Explain.
much better.
How come?
How come? Is
In what way?
because he's very unpredictable, Leao, and he's not afraid of taking chances. And I think Leao is much better. But in terms of maturity, I think I think that this kid is, even though he's younger in the Serie A, he seems to be more mature than Leao. Because Leao many times makes mistakes that you don't expect a player of that caliber to make mistakes like that. Very, very easy goals and chances. That is sometimes it gets a little cocky, if I can use the word. But as you said, you were saying before that Leao sets up better. I mean, Kvara sets the play better. The key for the Napoli is Lobotka and Anguissa. That spine over there on the middle, those are the key for me, for Napoli to be on top of what they're doing right now. And I think, tip my hat to Kvara, tip my hat to the Lozano that is playing very well right now, Kim. But the key is, again, the two on the backside, Anguissa, and then behind him it's Lobotka.
Mike,
those are the two best players in Napoli right now.
Why do you say
Even
Kvara's
though
a
if they
better
don't
dribbler
score,
than Leao?
even if they don't score.
I mean, I obviously give my respect to Leao. This is a smaller sample size in terms of Kvara played under 10 Serie A games. Leao, obviously MVP, give him all the credit it deserves. But so far, what I've seen from both of them is Kvara has more tools in his arsenal to beat the player. He has the vision. He doesn't just... Leao's good, but I feel like a lot of times he just runs in the box, hopes he gets fouled, and he's very good. He's quick, so you'd expect that. But I feel like Kvara's better at like faking, dribbling out someone.
Technically,
and doing
he has more skills in his arsenal.
Yeah.
I would say Kvara one-on-one. You see him do this chop. You'll see him. His footwork is really good. Leao's is amazing. I mean, they're two incredible players one-on-one. Leao uses his acceleration and his speed a little bit more, and he could get away with
Which
things.
he should, too.
And he starts from like a slower position where he'll be almost dead ball, and then boom,
Yeah,
he
he
takes you,
bursts
and
with
he can
pace.
almost not stop him. Kvara is just a little bit more technical and tricky, kind of like those old school type of wingers.
Leao, like you just said right now, you said it very well. Kvara is got a progression speed. Leao is got a cambio di passo because he goes from 0 to 100 in a fraction
It's
of
like
a
a
second.
Ferrari.
Kvara is gonna have to just accelerate and then take the play and then fake and do the moves that he is capable to do. But Leao is capable from 0 to go to 100 in a heartbeat. So that's why for me, I think he's a better player. He's got this skill that puts him a little bit over the top of Kvara in terms of technical ability.
The one thing I'll say, and I do agree, I think that Napoli is the most exciting team that I've watched play in Europe. I think that they play a style that makes me very proud to watch. And I've seen fans of other leagues and fans that don't like Napoli, don't like Serie A, have taken appreciation towards them because they love to watch that. You know, average football fans, they like to see that kind of style, that they go for it, that you almost can't figure out who their best striker is because they have players that will come off the bench and do even better. But I will say they have an Achilles heel. And we kind of knew this going into the season, but their defense for me is a big worry. They conceded 2 to Bologna. Listen, the scoreline was a lie because Napoli should have scored way more goals. 3-2. They got the job done. That's all that matters at the end of the day. But they have Rachmani that's out. He's going to be out until January 1st, until the new year. And Juan Jesus, him at times, especially even on the first goal with Di Lorenzo, players out of position. And I do think that center back partnership is weak because we don't know, number one, what's going to happen. This is the first time we've ever had a World Cup year that's in the middle. We don't know how these players are going to come back. We don't know who's going to get injured until then. And center back wise, they're a lot shorter than other teams. So if there's one worry I have in this, it's that. And then also, I like Meret a lot, but he is prone to make mistakes. That's without a doubt.
I agree with you on that, but I want to give Juan Jesus more of a chance only because, he maybe doesn't look the most familiar, but then again, he hasn't really played. When he got his feet wet more last season when Koulibaly was out, I thought he played fantastic.
But don't you think they need, for me, if they're going into January, as serious contenders, because the reason why I'm raising my level for them, I think that they could seriously contend in Champions League and Serie A. And when you want to contend in those leagues, in both of them, every few days as the season comes on, I would love to see them. Of course, I don't like to talk about transfer market now, but that's one of the worries that I'm keeping my eye on is center back position. that might be a place to look to reinforce.
I agree with you on that. I also talked about to Ludovico about this. He said he's not worried in terms of that because they also have Ostigard on the bench. But then again, we don't know how well they are playing, so that's the only thing. But I still want to give Juan Jesus some time.
Oliveira has done well though.
Yeah,
in the left back position,
for sure.
I don't think Mario Rui has been bad all season. He's done good in attack because he provides a lot of assists.
Sure.
But again, defensively, I just see those sorts of mistakes that probably could come. Meret, it's going to be hard. It would be hard to find a keeper that's. I think he's a really good keeper. I do. Every keeper, nobody's perfect besides Magic Mike Maignan. He
had a hiccup.
But he is prone to those sorts of mistakes.
Well, you know what? To their credit, Napoli, they score a lot of goals. So the defense, I don't think it's a top priority for them right now.
But when push comes to shove, you're not going to be winning all the time 4 or 5 goals.
In Champions League, when you play teams that are really solid, you need to still have a good defense.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think they see them as a deficit for, right now because they have a deadly midfield, a spectacular midfield and offensive line.
I just wonder how
they play an offensive game, Mike. That's what I'm saying. The defense for them, it's not that it's not important. It's secondary to the offensive game because Napoli doesn't wait around to bring the ball up. And Napoli, I see them playing one-touch ball many times.
But can that also hurt? That's also my reason for why I do think they need to have a solid defense.
They're solid in defense, but they're not as solid as everybody wish them to be. Everybody wants 4 over the top.
Listen,
defender.
they've only conceded 9 goals in 10 games, which is it's not bad.
They're doing good.
But I do see a little, like if you're just looking for something,
to nitpick.
I see a little weakness.
The thing is, Spalletti always preferred Ospina over Meret only because of his footwork also. So that was that and him being experienced. So I wonder if this question is going to creep in the back of Spalletti's head come January and if he needs a reinforcement or two, depending if the injuries continue or not.
Anyway. The only weak point that I can see in Napoli is the Portuguese that they have on the left-hand side.
Rui.
Mario Rui.
Yeah, Mario Rui. Other than that...
I think Oliveira will start getting some time.
Yeah, Mario Rui, he is tricky. He will have a great game, and sometimes he will have just an average game. So people, they have to be able to pick up and force the play on the right-hand side. If a team is smart, all they have to do just force the play on the right-hand side and put Mario Rui in trouble. It's not easy to do it, but if I were somebody to exploit a weakness of Napoli, I will just move the ball on the right-hand side and put Mario Rui in trouble.
Anyway, let's move on. So this is very rare, but Juventus won this week. They beat Torino 1-0. So for the first time, I think I don't have to make the coffees today.
That's true.
I think we agreed. Whoever doesn't lose, Milan won. So I think for the first time, Mike has to make our coffee.
Mike wins all the time.
Nice.
Mike, you win all the time.
I guess that's fair. I never make a call. Even though I won every game of football, whatever. I'll be a good sport about it.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, of course.
As Michael is making the coffee from Siag, Anto, let's talk about Juventus's win in the derby against Torino. For me, it was a tough game. Where are you going?
No, I'm going to tell Mike how to win my coffee.
Oh, you're telling him how to make your coffee. It's all right. Vlahovic got the winner. Desperate from him. He needed to get a goal. 6 goals in 9 games. It's actually a better start than he had last year at Fiorentina, where he scored 5 in 10. And you could see on his face the desperation. He doesn't get many balls. He knows that when the chances come, he needs to finish the ball. I thought that he did a really good job, and he's improving. And for me, he's one of the only guys that I see that seems like a leader in the team is Dusan Vlahovic. From Juventus, was it pretty? No. Did they have to win? Absolutely. This was a game against Torino. Torino had only won once in the last 32 meetings in 2015. There was no way they could slip up. They're coming from a bad moment, and they need to get the job done.
Listen, to me, the level of desperation, I can see it on your face, and I can see on most of the Juventus fan, because this Vlahovic, he got lucky. I mean, it was a dirty goal. I mean, it's just one of those scrappy goals that is just at the right place at the right time, and you just...
He read the play.
Well, he read the play. Okay, he read the play. The ball, he went up just going in his direction. It went up scoring. But seeing Juventus game, because I watched the game, Juventus, if Torino will walk away with a tie, nobody would be complaining. He could have actually won the game too.
I disagree. Before we do that, Siag, thank you for the coffee. Guys, they are our official coffee sponsor for the podcast. It looks very good.
And check
Make
that
sure
link in the
you go to
description.
the link in our description
to
be able to get
can they
Siag
see the aroma
coffee.
from the camera?
They can't.
Molinaro, can you smell the
Mr.
coffee
Molinari.
from...
By the way, we got Mr. Molinari back.
Hey, welcome back, Nick.
And we have a Molinari cam.
Oh, yeah.
Nick, do you mind if we tell them what happened to you? Okay, so we lost Molinari because he broke his arm and he had to have surgery.
Unfortunately,
he fell off a bike, and but he's better.
He's back.
You're better, right?
And he's back.
Nick, did you fall off a bike or somebody pushed you off the bike? What's the story?
It was probably you that pushed him.
So
Anyway, the people get Molinari back. And
so
we love
what happened? He
Mr.
broke what?
Molinari.
His hand, his arm. What happened? What did he
His
break?
forearm, his forearm, right?
And then, by the way, I asked Nick if he's been watching the series on Netflix. It's called The Broken Arm. And Nick,
What was that?
The Broken Arm. It's a brand new series. It's
never heard of
spectacular.
it.
And Nick, he took the bait and he says, "Oh, The Broken Arm." I said, "Yeah, they have a great cast." And then Nick, he thought about it and then he started to laugh. Right, Nick?
Such a dad
I
joke.
got you, right,
And then he
Nick?
said, "I gotta hand it to you." And then you didn't get it
And
for 20
then-
minutes.
You're right. He didn't get that.
And then Nick got it back to me. He said, "I gotta hand it to you." You see, from
And
The Broken
you didn't
Arm.
understand it.
We went to the. Well, I didn't understand at the beginning because I'm an ESL. You know what ESL stands
Yeah.
for?
English second
English.
language.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks for explaining that to me.
Alright.
Anyway, let's continue with Juventus against Torino. I disagree with Torino could have tied the game. For me, if Torino played another 45 minutes, they still would not have scored a goal. They had no striker. Sanabria was out. He wasn't able to play in the match. Pellegrini was not supposed to play. He didn't start. He ended up coming in. And listen, do they build up well? Yes. Do they defend compact? Are they organized? Yes. But for me, Juric still lacks the type of players to really play his sort of style and his brand. And it was up against a Juventus that desperately needed to win in any way possible. And for me, over the course of the game, Juventus played better and Juventus deserves to win.
Yeah, I mean, in the final third, I got to agree that they didn't really have that bite to really attack. And for last season, I thought Torino played good, and I almost felt bad for them that they didn't get any points from it because they were actually taking shots or actually playing good. So I expected more of Juric, especially in derby. And when Juventus playing bad, this is when you come out and, bite and show them your teeth. But they looked toothless that game, and Juve deserved to win. Even though they didn't have many chances, they
But
played better.
their best player had to play as a false nine, Vlasic, who scored 3 goals. He's their top goal scorer. They had, I think it's kind of deceiving because they were shooting a lot from outside the area, but it wasn't really causing Juventus any real problems. It was more desperation shots, and I do feel for them because again, I think that Torino's organized. I like Torino a lot, but they're still missing that lack of quality. Because for me, it's not a coach problem. It's just like the club. We already know. In the summertime, Juric was fighting with the management. They literally threw fists and went at each other because he needs more players. And for me, when you have such a good coach like him, you deserve to be rewarded and you need to have these players. For Juventus, doesn't matter how it comes. At this point, they just needed to win a game. And they need to find a way to use it as a reference point to push the season forward. I saw all the players afterwards get in a nice huddle. It feels like maybe they're against Allegri because that's what the reports are, right? They say that their locker room is split. For Allegri, against Allegri. They say Bonucci is one of those against Allegri, which is also, he didn't play. Whether it's resting, injuries, I don't believe it. I think that an experienced player like Bonucci would have played if Allegri wanted him to. But I think they need to forget about all that outside chatter. Forget about Allegri in, Allegri out. Clearly, after the loss against Maccabi, they are sticking with him. So the players just need to form a pact. Even if you don't understand him, at the end of the day, they're the ones that are taking the field, and they need to take this team into their hands and get to that point where they get those certain players that are back. Is it acceptable for the quality of Juventus? Absolutely not. But at this time, you're in desperation mode. The season is still pretty early. They need to find any way possible to salvage that.
Agnelli said we are still in to win it all. In other words, they wanted to win the Campionato and they want to go far in Champions and on the Coppa Italia too. So I think it's more of a. I don't think Allegri is a factor right now because the players, like the way you said it, whether they like it or whether they don't, Agnelli went to them on the locker room and said, "Hey, listen to me, guys. You are on my payroll. I cut the checks and I signed the checks for all of you. So whether you like him or you don't, this is
the coach
gonna be the coach, and this is what you guys playing with. So end of the story. I don't want to hear shit. So you just play, do your job, because if you don't, we're taking note from the side. Whoever is not performing is going to be tossed out."
And I think it's a good point. And I think they need to put the salaries aside, put how much you paid for these players, and at a certain point, draw a line in the sand and say, we're not going to stand for this. We're not going to accept this if you're not going out there to play for the team. Other news, Bremer is injured. He's going to be out for about 20 days. So many muscle problems at Juventus, as we've seen over these past couple of years. The good news is Chiesa could be called up for this Friday's match against Empoli. It's not likely because they're saying Allegri would rather him just play in a friendly match with the youth team first, but there is this possibility to see Chiesa. The hope is to have Chiesa Bremer and Di Maria and Pogba, all back in time for November 6th, I believe is the goal.
That spells like a desperation
I
to
personally
me.
wouldn't rush anything, especially
Neither do I.
someone with Chiesa who has who's injury prone. Give him an extra week if necessary, because you don't want to lose a player like that. But with other guys, Di Maria and Pogba, it'd be nice to definitely Pogba especially to see him finally play for a little bit.
I think Juventus is they are with the back against the wall, so those are desperation mode. And normally a team that has a player of that caliber, that injury, they're coming off an injury, you don't want to just rush them into the pitch because you're making a mistake over there, and then you lose them for much longer.
Well, they kind of did that with Di Maria, right?
Well,
he was injured.
Look what happened.
He came back. Whether they're related or they're not, they does feel like they're in that desperation mode where they're trying to just get anything out of these players, because I think in the heads of everyone at the club, it's get us to this damn international break where they do the World Cup, and then we'll regroup and allow the other players to rest.
I think another player was rushed back. I'm not sure which team. And then he came back into the Serie A playing. I'm not sure. I know Immobile got hurt he was hurt during the game. But there was another player that came in from an injury, and then he injured himself again.
Berardi.
Yeah, there you go.
Berardi,
for example, was not supposed to be playing against he came on the second half, and then after 25 minutes, he hit the crossbar, and then he injured himself again, and I think it's much worse than what
against Atalanta.
The thing is, especially with Chiesa and an ACL injury, that's the last thing you want to do.
You don't want to rush.
You've already waited this long. You might as well not rush it. I agree with you. But again, we're not doctors. We don't know what's really going on.
Forget about the desperation
behind the
mode.
scenes,
Your season is over already.
No, it's not.
I know that you have hopes, right?
So
you have hopes. Just say yes or not. Do you
I
have
think
hope?
there's hope. Yeah,
there is hope, right?
Well, not in Champions League though.
Yeah, not
Champions League. I think
well,
there's
listen,
no hope.
Even when you spend $1, you buy a lottery tickets. There is hope over there too. But what kind of a chances you give yourself?
Not in Champions League. None.
What about in the Campionato?
To finish top 4, yeah, very good chances.
No. Can you win the Campionato?
No, win the Campionato, no.
So top 4, how many chances?
I say 75%.
75%.
Yeah.
Wow.
I still feel pretty
It's
confident.
only 9 games in. Not even
10 games.
10 games.
No, but
so
75%.
speaking about a team that was judged so quick, and for me, they've turned things around. Inter. They won 2-0 against Salernitana. Lautaro, after an amazing performance against Barcelona, returns to scoring in the Serie A. He loves a goal against Salernitana. And Barella scored what was a brilliant goal that was set up by Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who in a new position, him as a regista, has been phenomenal. Is this crazy? I never thought these words would come out of my mouth. They haven't lacked Brozovic. They haven't even missed him. Hakan has been amazing as a regista. If you watch his build-up to the goal of Barella, the assist he had, the way that he wins the ball back, because yes, he's good technically. He sees the field. He's got good vision. He gives the passes. But he recovered so many balls the entire game that really got to give credit to him. For me, Inter, they're going to click. They were going through a rough patch. I finally see, and I listened to Bastoni's interview where he said, we brought this up. This is something that we brought up. I thought it was funny. He said we were getting mad at each other too much. We would throw our hands up. We would get annoyed with the players. We decided to form a group, to everybody speak, and to say, forget about everything else that's happening. We need to be together on the pitch. Now you're seeing them hug each other. You're seeing them with a group mentality that for me in the beginning of the season, you didn't see. And Inter, they have the team. They're waiting for things to click. Lukaku, who knows what's happening with Lukaku when he's coming back. But either way, they have to take the pitch every single week. And I think it's a sign from all the players that they do believe in Inzaghi and that they don't want Inzaghi to leave. Kind of the opposite of what I would feel at Juventus.
Yeah, no, and I got to give it to Hakan, like you were saying. I didn't think he had those defensive capabilities to play there, but he looks pretty good there. And usually when Brozovic is out, just like last season, he lost so many points. They look so bad in the defense, even coming up. Hakan's doing pretty well there. And I think Onana cemented himself as a starter. I feel like Handanovic is going to be getting the few appearances every now and then. But Onana, Serie A and Champions League seems to be the number one. We expected a little bit sooner for it to happen, but I think deservedly he is there, and they got a big win.
You see, again, let me just say what I think is happening to Inter. Inter was struggling with leadership roles. Handanovic was one of them. and Brozovic is the other one of them. It's the Brozovic, Andanovic, and Skriniar. So the 3 or 4 of those cemented players into the formation that they were calling the shots. And for them, Andanovic there is no talk about Andanovic. Now all of a sudden, Andanovic is starting to get scored, and in a very poor way, especially the goal against AC Milan that everybody said it was savable. But nevertheless, Andanovic has lost the leadership roles, and now I think Inzaghi.
Skriniar's the captain.
Inzaghi, it feels like is more emboldened to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna take my chance with Onana." So Onana, all of a sudden, he plays a couple decent games, and I think he's gonna be the starting goalkeeper at some point. You know, the leadership, whether it's on the bench, whether it's going to be on the presidency, or whether it's going to be on the technical director, or whether it's going to be on the field, changes. And in this particular case, it's benefiting Inter because they had the courage to say to Andanovic, I said, "Hey, Andanovic, sit on the bench for a little while. Let's see what this guy here has. Let's give him a chance."
There's one guy that I think has stepped up in a leadership role, and it's been Barella.
Yeah.
I think Barella has stepped up big time, especially in the last few games. He's one that, you're always... He's a fantastic player. I mean, he really is. He's an engine. He's got this never die attitude. And I think in the last couple games, which has been the crucial moments, because you have to judge a player and you have to judge people when how they react in tough times, not when everything's going good. When everything's going good, anyone could play good. You pop a player in there, oh, everything's fine, no problem, boom, 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 you're good. When it's tough, that's when you really show your true colors. True. And for me, that's when Barella has excelled the most. The team looks for a leader. And for me, he's sort of been that within the squad through his goals, through his assists, but also just through his attitude and the way that he's portrayed himself with Inter. The only other thing I'll say about Inter, and then we can move on, there was Financial Times, which is a good source, are saying that the team is looking to be sold, that Suning Group is going to get out. They're talking about American ownership. I would just want to say I would be very happy to see Inter sold from the Suning Group. Okay, they did good to get Inter back to the level where they won the Scudetto, but they're clearly not investing within the team like a club like Inter should. And I think that there's definitely other ownerships out there who could bring a lot more to the club, financially, stability-wise, and just from 365 degrees that could provide more. And if it's another American ownership, that would be great because, I mean, we're a little bit biased, but we like to see
Speak
American
for yourself.
ownerships.
I'm not biased.
yeah.
We are.
You're the number one most biased, person here.
Anyway, I agree with you. With the Suning Group, they are into investing for a profit. And in soccer, especially in Europe, not all the time translate your investment in monetary investment into the soccer club translate into making money.
Like Elliot.
That's a good point.
Like Elliot only was one of the few that he made a big profit. He bought AC Milan for 300 million or less, and he sold the AC Milan for $1.2 billion. So that's a big jump. So that means because he surrounded himself with a smart manager and people that they actually know, they played the game, and they were given the trust to make the move for them, because they said, hey, we're putting the money down, we don't know what we're doing, we're going to put our trust on you because we trust your technical knowledge.
I think Inter have that too, though.
Yeah, who do they have?
They have Beppe Marotta, they have Zanetti.
But Marotta is more of a PR guy. Marotta, he doesn't know the game as well as Zanetti. Zanetti, yes, I tip my hat to Zanetti.
Well, Marotta's a genius on the market.
Just because he was in Juventus, he won in Juventus when nobody else was around.
He built Juventus up from a team that finished 7th place 2 times, and then he tore them down by going to Inter and making that team win, who hadn't won in like a decade. He is very smart with the signings that he does. Also, the management of the funds and the budget. So, what my point is that
the money with Inter, he was able to do what he had to do.
He won Director of the Year also.
My point is that if they do have a fund that trusts, like Milan trusted Maldini, if they have somebody behind them that can help excel things and help move things forward, I think that Inter would be on a really good path to be able to create a cycle where they are competitive already, of course, but they want to bring revenues up, commercialize, and do a lot of stuff just even off the pitch that all of Serie A needs. So to be able to get more minds inside those meetings, inside those board meetings, inside Serie A that want to globalize the game and has this interest and is invested into it, for me, it's a plus for the league.
Well, the brand is a global brand anyway. AC Milan by far is one of the best in Europe, not in Italy.
Okay,
only.
and look what they're doing. Like Rock Nation, their
Look,
partnership with
that's
Rock
what I'm
Nation
saying.
is
So-
phenomenal. We
so
haven't seen a team
you
in
got-
Italy do
yeah.
something like that.
You got the Yankees channel right now. From time to time, I wanted to watch a Yankees game to find out what's going on at the playoff, and I see the Milan is playing over there. Meanwhile, they are playing on TNT or some other network. I said, wow, look at this. AC Milan is playing on the Yankees network right now.
Yeah, they
So,
show like old games.
Yeah. No, not all the time. From time to time, they show highlights, they show other stuff. So I was very impressed, and I said, look at that, the Yankees investing on AC Milan. That's great news. So what I'm saying, when you are an international brand like AC Milan is, it's actually not an international, it's a worldwide brand. AC Milan, it's even on other planets. If you you have aliens following AC Milan, not necessarily people on the planet Earth.
That's where you came from. Because you definitely not from here.
Mike, why are you laughing? I mean,
We came
I know,
from Jupiter.
I know a few people that they come from the other world. So I told them, I said, what's your favorite team? I was asking them, I said, AC Milan. Okay, you're on the right track.
Do they speak Barres?
Yeah, they do.
over
They
there
speak
in
dialect
Jupiter?
too.
Let's talk about your team, Milan.
Oh.
2-1 win against Verona. I don't want to speak for you, but tough match. Wasn't the best performance from
I
Milan.
didn't like the game. I didn't like the way they play.
But at the end of the day, you needed to be able to win. Still lacking lots of chances, lots of opportunities, because I go back to the chance that Giroud had, who's not in the best form right now. He had the opportunity to make it 2-0 right away, which, boom, could have helped kill off the game. He doesn't. 2 own goal on each side. I know they're giving it to Gunter, but I'm not calling that
Yeah, it's an own goal.
it's an own goal. They say because of shot on net. Well, no, for me, no. And struggle for Milan, but what I think of it is Milan right now, everyone goes through periods, tough periods, where they're missing players, where they have hard schedules, where they have lots of games back to back. They had to play Chelsea. They conceded 5 goals and scored 0 against Chelsea over 2 games. Mentally, for a team, that's not easy to overcome. So any way you could win a game, it just gives more confidence to a team. And mentally, it's a test of character for the entire organization to be able to get this win against Hellas Verona, which, okay, it's not an amazing win, but a team that's down in the dumps, a team that just got a new coach in Bocchetti. You're in Verona, that things are not all going well. It's a good win.
Listen, Verona, to be honest with you, when I watched the game, I didn't watch the game live because I was over my friend Frank the Tank house in Staten Island. By the way, Frank, if you're watching the podcast, because I know that he does watch it, great party yesterday, guys.
Oh, thanks for the invite.
Wow,
Appreciate
it
it.
was a last minute thing.
Thank
and,
you.
I said in the
Last
group,
minute.
you guys doing anything on board?
Oh
And
my
after that, I
God,
didn't say anything.
top of the
Appreciate
line,
it.
food.
We know who our friends are, Mike.
No.
Unbelievable.
Thanks, Anto.
Frank, you see what I have to deal with? So anyway, I went home. The first thing that I did, I put my Paramount Plus, and I went to watch the game from scratch. I'll tell you what, Verona gave us a lot of hard time, and I think the core portion of the AC Milan, which is the hard. He was at the midfield, actually brought them down right now. I said, don't forget to mention those guys. It's Krunic, it's Benasser, it's Tonali, and it's Pobega. Listen, we have interchangeable players on that core midfield, on the 4-2-3-1, that they are, we're not missing Kessié anymore, you know what I mean? Kessié, before, for us, it was fundamental. But now, look how many we have. We have so many that they actually took over that position, and they actually excelling in plugging those holes that we thought that we were going to have with the departure of Kessié. So we do not have a problem over there anymore. And I'm going to strike this end 3 times. We found out about this Thiaw, which is pronounced Chow. Okay,
Big
this
boy.
kid here is a big boy.
he is.
6'4".
6'4".
He's a tank.
He came over
he
for the last 10 minutes. He plugged the hole on the
He
bench.
saved 2 goals, right?
Spectacular saves, and he's for his size, he's very athletic. He's very flexible, and I think it's going to pay a lot of dividends for us because AC Milan doesn't put the pressure on those young talents immediately, so he plugs them in here and there, and then if they come through, I think they become a superstar. The same way we did it with Kalulu, we did it with Calabria. This is going to be the next one that is going to make us not missing buying another top of the line defender, whether it's going to be a center, whether it's going to be a winger.
Yeah, I mean, Milan, I feel like the scrappy game was coming because how Marco mentioned with what was going on. But even when Milan plays scrappy, it's just one of those teams that they have the mentality to win regardless of what's going on, whether it's an own goal, whatever the case may be. they grind out to the last minute, and this time it was Tonali that got the winner. So very good for them. I wasn't too surprised. Milan loves these gritty, like Anto says, dirty wins at the end to do what they can to get the 3 points, and they're probably the best in the league to do it. They might not play the best football, good champagne football, but they manage to win when everything's against them.
No, the champagne was there. The sparkles were not there. But the last 15 minutes, I'm starting to see the sparkle coming out from the bottom. And I got to tell you something, not because I'm an AC Milan fan, Tonali is one of the top 2 or 3 midfielder in Europe right now. The guy, it's all over the place. He's starting to read the offensive game, even though it's a midfielder and he's on the 4-2-3-1 formation. Tonali is someone that is being given the freedom right now, I believe, by Pioli to say, hey, you're doing a great job over there. Do more. We trust you. We trust you to do. You're very scared?
I wrote down, Pioli gave Tonali the freedom to make runs.
Yeah,
that scares me. I wrote this down. We both agree.
So you see,
I totally agree with that.
You read in my mind.
I think Pioli did an unbelievable job managing Tonali.
He read my book?
You read his book before.
No
you did?
I don't read it.
Oh, is that why?
I saw
you don't read
I
it?
can't even read it. First of all, I don't have the glasses to read that. It looks like
Chicken
hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphics.
Geroglifici, you say in Italiano. So I cannot read that stuff. So.
I do agree. I think Pioli's done a great job managing him, allowing him, because I think by nature, he's a more defensive-minded player. Like, he likes to get stuck into tackles. He likes to, sometimes he sits in that double pivot in front of the defense, where oftentimes players in that position can get stuck in that little hole, but he's been given the freedom to make those runs, and we've seen it time and time again that he'll find himself decisive, and that's exactly what he did against Verona. From a whole 3 wins in a row for Milan now in the Serie A, important to just get points, move on, get past this little tough period where they do have a lot of injuries.
But we're not complaining about injury. You keep mentioning about injuries. We're not like you guys.
No,
you guys but he keeps saying injuries.
But he just showing what's on the paper. He just saying what's on paper.
Everybody's got injury. We have to play through adversity.
I mean, Napoli is like the one team that hasn't dealt with they have Osimhen.
Kim?
Not
Kim. My bad.
Rahman.
At some
that was like one.
But they're not complaining, are they? They're not.
No.
So only the only
I didn't
people
say you were
complaining.
He's just saying what's on paper.
But
we're
not complaining. It's not the nature of AC Milan is to play with what you have. Okay, this is not the first time. It's not going to be the last time. And whether win or lose, you have to just take.
My only point is that you go through periods because your players are not injured throughout an entire season. Every single team, most of the time, every single team goes through periods where they have more players injured than usual. Now is that time for Milan, and I think they're managing it and dealing with it really well. Which my point is that when they do have everybody, you'll see how good they actually can be. Because I still don't think it's not the best Milan.
No,
we've seen Milan play much better. We've seen things click, and we've seen them really dominate games. And I think that when they do have everyone back, they will. The one thing I'll say, and just to give credit to Verona as well, I have not liked Verona this season. I've been very open about that. I did not like Cioffi. I thought it was a terrible decision. They sold Caprari. They sold Simeone. I think they are rightfully where they belong because of the actions that they made. But this was the first time that I saw them actually become aggressive. It gave me glimpses of the Verona of last year. Are they missing those players that could score? 100%. But I do see a better reaction, and that's good job from Bocchetti, who just took over the team. He's a young coach. I think he's 36 or 37 years old, something like that. So good job from him. Let's see if it actually sustains, because they are at a real risk this season of looking at the bottom half. I mean, they're already at the bottom of the table.
He's 35.
He's 35.
I was very impressed with Verona. I saw that Verdi.
They're in 18th place.
Simone Verdi was all over the place. Was unstoppable. Ball.
You definitely saw some positives from.
I did.
From considering how they played before.
Yeah, I think
much better.
If they keep the level of playing high the way they played against AC Milan, I'm not sure if they'll be able to sustain that kind of speed and
high press.
You don't have to beat Milan. You don't have to get a result.
You just got to beat the other teams.
Right, what you need to do is not lose to Salernitana, which they did the week before, and they have five losses in a row.
Right. So then
now you can't do.
If I see them playing the style of play that they get the game that they showed up against AC Milan, then I don't see them. They're going to be fine.
It just can't be a one-off. Let's talk about another two teams that are in fantastic form, and this is one of the ones I said Napoli was a lie in the scoreline. Same thing, Lazio and Udinese, because it was a 0-0 game. But I was, I think it was the 9 a.m. game. I was at the edge of my seat watching this game back and forth. I love the match. I love the style of both of these teams, both Lazio and Udinese. Who Udinese every week, it sounds bad, but I'm sort of waiting for them to finally decline. I'm like, all right.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, it's got to come now, right?
I wanted to keep going.
No, I'm not saying it's not what I want. I'm saying, but I'm like waiting for like, it's got to happen eventually, right?
He does want that. Don't you lie. You're a liar because he wants Juventus
The
to
real
catch up.
Bianconeri,
Yeah,
right?
he wants
Udine.
Juventus to catch
I got
up.
family
so.
in Udine. They'll be very mad at me. No, but naturally, when you look at the squad, they, you expect that. I think they're in 4th place at the moment, and I'll check. They're in 6th place, but everything is extremely tight. They're in 6th place, but they're 3 points from being in 2nd place. So the Campeonato is very tight. Either way, I'm waiting for them to really lose a big match, and they don't. And this is a different kind of game that they had to play against Lazio. For me, though, the Lazio side, once Ciro Immobile went out of the game, I knew that they were going to struggle to score. He got hurt. It seems like a more serious injury. They're going to find out Wednesday, but they're already talking about for the rest of the season.
What is the hamstring? What is it?
It was hamstring, yeah. He pulled up with a hamstring.
4
What's
weeks,
unbelievable about him is in the last 5 years, the guy has only missed 13 games. He's played 149 games, 142 as a starter.
You can bet on him to play,
which is
huh?
sensational.
Yeah.
But once he went out, they sort of struggled. And right now, they're talking about Milinkovic-Savic potentially playing as a center forward, which they're saying that he's played there in training and that he likes to play as a center forward role. He's phenomenal at scoring goals. Oh my God, he's going to be a hassle to deal with if he plays center forward.
I mean, Savic is a big player, so his hold-up play might be pretty good. But Udine, with a little bit more luck, they could have sneaked in 3 points. They hit 2 posts. And they didn't look bad. And when Immobile came off, they did struggle a lot, which is a big concern for a team like Lazio, who's fighting for a European spot. You need someone that can come in, that you have confidence in. You can't just rely on Immobile, even though he doesn't get injured too much. But when it does happen, you need a good backup, especially for rotation.
Mike, on the Lazio, the build-up player. This Vlahovic. Milinkovic is known to be for his skills in building up the play and then follow up and then eventually even put himself on the position to score as well.
But usually give it to a striker. Give a nice assist to
but now when you're starting to invert the role and wait for the ball to be
who's going to give it to him?
The finalizer. So
it's
the only thing that I can think about is Pedro just taking one of the position midfield, like a starting midfield and starting even Luis Alberto. So those are the only 2 players that, but they're not Savage. The dynamic of this player
you're missing something regardless. If you play Savage up front,
you're not going to be able to plug that hole.
I trust Sadi over you 2 guys across from me. So if Sadi thinks that he could play there,
sometimes.
The maestro. You mean the maestro?
Okay. The maestro says so. More than likely, I think we'll see Pedro that will slot in to the number 9. Yeah, but I don't know. Could be interesting if he played there. I do agree with Mike, though. Udinese, it kind of felt like they were the ones that were dropping points just for the way that they played. Either way, unbelievable style. Those guys continue to impress. They keep fighting. They're not stopping. And you love to see it. You love to see it even with Beto making the runs in behind. Yeah. The one thing I will say, though, the numbers for Lazio this season, I have them right in front of me. They've only conceded 5 goals in 10 games. And when you think about Lazio and you think about Sarri, you don't often think about that. It's the best in Serie A. And they've scored 21 goals. It's the second best in Serie A. They are finally balanced. They're finally not conceding too much. And that comes down to the good signings they made. Provedella in net. I really like him. Romagnoli in the center back position. Patrick stepping things up. Overall for Lazio, these are good numbers.
Marusic.
He's always been there, though.
Listen to me. You just jinx something for Lazio because starting from next week, they're going to start to take 2-3 goals for every game. So I got to tell you, who they play next week? I think Inter, right?
Now. No, they play Atalanta.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Hello.
Wait, what's the score going to be? So we can have this recorded.
It could be a 2-2 or 3-1 Atalanta, something like that.
I don't think Atalanta will score 3 against Lazio.
You never know. You never know.
So Lazio scored 5, conceded 5 in 10 games, but they can concede 3 in 1.
Well, Atalanta didn't concede a lot either. They did not concede much.
Well, Atalanta's doing good. They won 2-1 against Sassuolo. Good transition.
Yeah, maybe they conceded 6 or 7, maybe 8.
Atalanta conceded 6.
Here you go.
Wait, how's that possible?
Okay, but they've also only scored 16. They're not scoring that many
goals.
But
I'm very surprised. Their defense is usually not very good. It's always leaky.
Yeah, but it's this is not Atalanta of years past. This Atalanta side is completely different than last year's.
They're
way more pragmatic. They're way more effective. They kill off games when they have to kill off games.
Second best defense.
They conceded first for the first time. They went down in the match for the first time all season.
Yeah, all season they
Kyriakopoulos, great strike.
What a goal,
playing
man.
out of position.
What a goal.
Even great assist too from D'Andrea, 18 years old.
Right.
Had to step in because
He looked like a
all
baby.
injuries, they're all injuries.
Loriente,
Didn't he look like a 12 years old or 13
he looked
years
very
old?
young.
I thought the speaker gonna be like, "We have your you lost your mom or something." They're gonna announce. say his name on
Loriente
the
got
speaker.
hurt, I think, in warm-ups. Who looks really good. This kid
He
from
usually plays on the wing.
Yeah, he was supposed to start. D'Andrea came in. They had Traore and Berardi that were on the bench. But Atalanta, so good from them. So good. And I pick out two players that really impressed me in the game. Lukman, who overall, he reads the game really well. He's got the pace. He's got the dribbling ability. Great second goal from him where he chops back.
He's got
has
a nice
composure to calm down. And Soppi's from Udinese. They had signed him, brought him into the right wing back position. The first goal, he had 2 assists. The first goal was so smart from him. Aslani needs to look at that and say, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do when I'm in that moment. Instead of shooting like, oh, he gets so excited, I could score my first goal for Atalanta. No. He passes it to Pasalic, who's in a better position. And then he gives a great ball, again, to Lukman, who scores a goal. This Atalanta is flying. They're flying, and they're still without so many key players.
They don't have Toloi,
one being Duvan
Musa, Zapata, and Zapacosta.
Don't talk about Aslani while PC is not around, okay?
PC.
All right? PC is Peter
Pichi.
Ukurt.
Pichi.
So when Ukurt is not around, don't ever say anything bad about Inter players. Okay? So at least he can say something to you. Maybe he can say, yes, you're right, no, you're wrong. So I think Aslani made a mistake against Barcelona, but nevertheless, we liked him to make mistakes once in a while because that's how you learn. You learn from your mistake, especially if you make them against AC Milan. All right?
I think teams like Atalanta and teams like Lazio are making this Serie A and Udinese. They're making it us really question and making it interesting because they're just so tough to break down. Like no matter what happens in a game, they're not scared to make it dirty. They have a really good defense, which, like you said, in years past we wouldn't expect it. They got Scalvini and Occolli, 18 and 21 years old. Scalvini 18 and Occolli 21. Italian center backs who hopefully they become big. Scalvini looks legit. Hopefully they continue going. They're able to plot in these young players because they have a system. They never complain. They're one of those teams that because their feeling around the club is so good and Gasperini has this idea, they're able to interchange players from the Primavera, from young guys that come in. And that's why you're seeing these players like Soppi, Lukman, Scalvini, all of them are able to do well. It's because they're put in positions to succeed. But then they mix in the experience of guys like Muriel, who's dropped back. He's much more creative. And Derun, who's, again, a leader, who's got experience, who's been there. Cup Miners, who's got 4 goals and 1 assist this season. Like, they have players in each position who offer something different. And kind of like Napoli, they're just built well 365 degrees.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I think when we're talking about Atalanta losing the Magic, I don't think they lost the Magic. It's just they were not good enough to play in 3 competitions. So I feel like playing like this, they're really going to trouble for a top 4. So the other teams really better be watching now. And I do want to say something about Sassuolo. They don't look very safe at all. Since selling Scamacca, Raspadori, Berardi not being healthy, Boga,
Traore.
Traore,
not there anymore.
I know, selling. Traore just playing his first game, getting his first few minutes. Man, they're really... Yeah, they play a lot of youth players, but they sold too many players, I feel like.
They're not going to challenge the
I feel like they bit off more than they could chew.
Pinamonti's not stepping up to the level that I wanted.
Pinamonti's not the striker that he's supposed to be. Playing Kyriakopoulos as a left wing when he's a defender. I mean, all these things add up at the end. And even though they lost 2-1, I think it could have been more ugly. And Dionisi, I think he's going to be on the hot seat, and not because of him. I just feel like the board...
Yeah, but I think they realize that.
Give him the real reinforcements.
I feel like Sassuolo is actually a well-run team in the sense that I feel like when you look at their turnover, the different coaches that they had, even from Di Francesco to De Zerbi to Dionisi, they follow like a path. They follow a model, all playing like 4-3-3, all like with the same sort of idea of players and young players that they want to build up. So I think that they're well run and they knew what this season was. This season was let's cash in on some players that we paid little for, make a big budget, and just try to stay safe. Now, I'm not saying that's a right decision or it's a wrong decision.
They look
but
horrible.
Yeah, but I'm not disagreeing.
Looks so bad.
But I think
It's
that
hard
they
to
have
watch
the
that.
communication with Dionisi because they have good. Carnevale is a really good director. He's a good manager.
That's selling.
No, but either way, he's a good CEO. I think that he understands the business of things. So he's not rash. He's not a crazy owner like we used to see in the past, like Massimo Ferrero, who wants to sack a coach immediately.
You know what? On the
I don't think
transfer
so.
market, Marco, on the transfer market.
It's not his
No,
fault.
I
This
know.
is something.
I definitely it's not his fault. It's just me. I was so excited to watch Sassuolo last season. This season, it's hard for me to watch them. It's that much of a difference. I get, they want to make money. They're a smaller team, but at what cost now? They're gonna be fighting to stay up. That's
No,
the
no,
thing.
no. They're not gonna fight to stay up.
But you know what I mean?
They're gonna be in the middle of the park. So
It's just disappointing for me. As
is.
someone that really likes Sassuolo last season, that's what I'm saying.
Don't forget, Mike, the last 2 games that AC Milan had to play was Sassuolo and Atalanta, and the fear that AC Milan had.
They tied you, right?
No, we won.
No,
both.
you tied Sassuolo 0-0.
On the first one.
Yeah.
On the first one, but then the
Enrico,
last
you
2
tied
games.
Sassuolo, no?
No, the last 2 games we won. Sassuolo and Atalanta we won, I believe. So double check.
I'll check.
I know. I'm pretty sure you tied both of those games.
No, we didn't. We won
pretty sure you
against
tied both of those
Atalanta.
games.
No, we won both.
Sassuolo Milan draw 0-0.
That's what I'm saying. 0-0.
The last one?
Yes.
Damn.
And you tied 1-1 Atalanta. I remember this.
I don't have too much.
I know your team more than you know your team.
Too much coffee, Anto.
No, it
Too much
happens.
caffeine.
I'm usually terrible at remembering
It was
things.
the wine. Bocca
There's
di Fuoco gave me a glass of wine before.
One other thing I wanted to mention about was about Bologna. Sorry, I was just checking my notes about teams that started to look better. They played well. They played better than they played under Mihajlovic. I think Thiago Motta has brought some energy to the team. Of course, it's early, so we need to see how they progress. But 2 guys stuck out for me. Zirkzee, who started,
Xerxes.
Joshua, right? Zirkzee, no? That's how I heard
He's
them
Dutch.
pronounce it.
He's Dutch.
Dutch guy.
Yeah.
I think he comes from the Bayern Munich Youth Academy. Scored a nice goal. It looked pretty interesting. And Cambiaso, we know the left back, who for me, this guy, I think this kid makes the right decisions, had a great assist. If there's some people out there that they like to hear about unknown players, that's who I wrote down in terms of who impressed me. There were 2 players that I think they're good against.
And they got
Bologna.
Cambiaso.
Arnautovic wasn't there.
They got Cambiaso from Genoa, who went down, so it was a big little
From
move.
Juventus. They bought him, and then Juventus said, oh no, we're Cambiaso, we're not going to use Cambiaso. I think Cambiaso would be playing at Juventus.
Cambiaso with 1 S is pretty decent, I gotta say.
As usual, smart decision. You guys are very smart.
Let's talk about Roma against Sampdoria. We watched the game over here. Pellegrini scored on a penalty kick.
yeah.
Questionable penalty for a lot of us in the studio in terms of the handball. Did you think it was?
No, I was just gonna say Roma's performance.
What'd you think?
So sloppy, man. I mean, I guess Mourinho's there to get results, but oh my god, it's hard to watch him play.
Yeah, they're finishing. Zaniolo.
It's hard to watch
Yo,
him play.
Zaniolo finishing
Zaniolo should have
is
scored a hat
actually
trick
insane.
today. He scored 1 goal, but it was ruled offside.
The one
And
time he finishes.
Do you think Roma fans are excited to see this?
I mean, but who cares? They're pretty close. They're in 4th place.
It's so annoying to watch them
They're
play.
in
That's
4th
the
place
thing.
with 22 points. They play Napoli next match, where usually they actually have a pretty good track record
record with
against
them?
Napoli.
No, but,
Let's just say they would win. They go to 2nd place.
That's a big.
They go to 2nd place.
That's
Okay, but I'm saying it's 1 game. But they're in 4th place. Either way, they're in 4th place
Listen.
right
No,
now.
I'm not saying
They're
the
in
result.
4th.
Like I said, it's just
Paisa.
hard
And they
watching
can't finish
me.
the ball.
I'm not saying
And they're
it's-
without Dybala.
It's just hard watching them play. I'm not saying whatever. Mourinho's getting the result, but it's so annoying to watch them because they
Listen,
play.
or even
I
on
don't
his
wanna
best
say
day,
it,
Mourinho as a magician is not going to be able to pull anything from his hat to be able to offset and beat Napoli.
That's gonna be extremely hard.
I don't see that.
Extremely hard.
Okay, so
Listen, top
you
4 is
know,
their goal.
Yeah.
Top 4.
I'm not saying
if
it's
they
not.
finish top 4, it would be massive.
Yeah, it's still early.
Massive.
It's still early.
With this season, with this campionato, finishing top 4 would be massive.
Would you take Zaniolo or Juventus?
No.
Why not?
I said it in
but
the
you
summer.
were bragging before,
No,
or you didn't
not
want
true.
it in the
Not
summer?
Would you take him at Milan?
No.
Why not?
No, because it's not. That doesn't have the kind of a DNA. It's not a
Like Messias, right?
Yes, I'll take Messias. Messias by far is much for
Messias
me.
has a DNA.
For me,
Over
Messias is much better than Zaniolo.
Salazmaker has a DNA.
Why
over
not?
him too.
Why not?
Hey, Salamaker has the most goals in Champions League, Mike, from Milan.
Zaniolo.
This is more about Milan than just
Zaniolo, he got a little bit ahead of himself, and I think Roma they put too much chips on the name of this kid here. If I was Roma management, I will just ship him out, get as much money as you can, maybe $30-40 million, maybe a change of environment.
You gotta sell him on a high though. You can't sell him now.
I hate to say this. I really hate to say this.
Change of environment
but
will do
he
good
would
to the
actually
kid.
do really well at a team like
Someone
Tottenham.
else. Tottenham, yes.
He would do perfect
On the
at Tottenham.
English Premier League.
Under
It's so
Antonio
physical,
Conte.
though, there.
Exactly.
He's gonna get
No,
injured.
he's big boy. Like he always puts
Gets
his body
injured all
in
the
front of
time.
himself.
Yeah.
I think he would actually excel in a league like Premier League because tactically for me, he's always making the wrong decision. He actually kind of reminds me of Kulusevski, who would do a little bit too much at
He's got
times.
the speed.
He needs a coach that like tailors him down a little bit. I wanted to stay in Serie A, don't get me wrong, but I do think Tottenham wouldn't be that bad of a decision if they got 45 million and could.
Maybe.
45?
Yeah, I could see that, actually.
Yeah, you don't think they would pay
No, I
45
could see
million
that,
for
yeah.
him?
Not
Mike,
crazy.
did you
It's
put
not
anything
crazy.
special on the Siag for this guy?
For Premier League, they spent a lot of more money.
Paisa, $45 million.
Yeah.
Listen, even
Euros.
That's too much.
Even
basically
though,
the same
even,
nowadays.
Okay, we talk some negatives about Zaniolo, not some positives. Even though he's not the best finisher, he makes things happen. Though I feel like
He's a hustler.
he's always hustling. He's always looking for the pass. He's always running his ass off, and he puts himself in good positions.
He
Even though he's
reminds
got
me
to
a
work
lot
on
of
his finishing.
Kulusevski in that way.
That's
Reminds me
good.
of Zaza.
In that way.
Mike, that's good. but
Zaza
not
is
good
currently
enough.
has
A
no
free
team.
agent.
We literally looked
We
this
looked
up. He's
before
31 years
but
old
not
and has
good
no
enough.
team.
That's pretty absurd.
That's
31 years
wild.
old, supposed to be like the prime of your career almost.
To me, it's another edge. To me,
even
listen
listen
to
to
me.
us.
To me, I can see another El Shaarawy that instead of playing left, is playing right. That's all.
I have one question for you.
Yeah.
One penalty to save your life. Your life is on the line. You choose one player currently playing. Who would you choose, both of you, to save your life?
In Serie A,
Anywhere.
can be from your team or somebody else.
Anywhere. Has to be currently playing.
Not Jorginho.
No, any league.
I gotta say Serie A. I'm not
I
gonna
will
say a
take.
different league.
I will take. You want to really
Say
know?
Berardi.
I wanna know
He's
you-
gonna
I
say
wanna know
Berardi.
you- I want to know.
No.
Who?
Look at me. I want to know.
De Bruyne.
De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Does he even take the penalties
Doesn't
for
matter, but I
for
trust
Man
him.
City?
I
Why?
trust him.
That's the
He's-
most random. How many Man City games have you watched
You
this
ask
year?
me a question, I answer the question.
If we say outside of Serie A, I'd say Kane, but inside Serie A,
Harry Kane is actually sick
yeah,
at
that's what I'm
penalties.
saying. But if we saying Serie A, because that's a league we promote on.
you want to know
If you
Serie A?
didn't
I
know-
can give you a Serie A
Give me a
player.
Serie A guy too. Wait, hold on. Let Mike go first.
No, go. I don't have
Junior
any.
Messias.
Wait, what? Adios. It was nice knowing you.
Score a penalty. He said
Nice,
score
nice
a penalty.
knowing you, Antonio.
Has he taken?
You're the most. What is in your coffee?
I give Vlahovic.
What was in your Siag
I give
coffee?
Vlahovic.
I have insider information, Paisa. Something that you don't know.
Yo, I would pay Messias just to roof that ball.
You don't have to pay him. He'll do it himself.
What are you laughing about?
That's a wild choice.
He's
Oh,
kidding.
I know what you will pick up. Vlahovic. No, Dele. Give me a freaking break. Those bunch of losers.
Who's yours?
Vlahovic.
Vlahovic?
Yeah,
Really?
he's very good at
Yeah.
that. I think.
Mike,
Unless
how much
I'm not
money you
thinking-
got on the
Vlahovic
side?
is-
Vlahovic.
You said Messias and you're saying, are you kidding?
Yeah,
okay,
by
I don't
far
know.
Messi
I got
is
one.
much better than
I got one that
I
you're
can't
gonna
think of
like.
a better one.
Which
out
one,
there.
Giroud?
Mario Balotelli.
Yeah, but it's not playing Serie
I
A.
didn't say Serie A.
Now say the quote.
So they asked Erling Haaland who he would take to save his life, and he said Balotelli. He said maybe he's the best penalty kick taker I've ever seen.
Not now. Maybe
Oh,
before.
just
Very
because
true.
Haaland said it?
No, I
If
would've-
Haaland says jump off the bridge, what you gonna do? Give me a break. Oh my
Yo,
God.
You won't even live to see it because Junior Messias is taking your
Are
penalty.
you
That's
kidding
true.
me?
That's true.
He missed 5 out of 50 penalties in his career.
Okay. Balotelli. Oh, wow.
Okay,
Very good.
you still will take Balotelli?
That's
That's
amazing.
a good, very good record. He didn't realize it was a good try.
pick
Wait,
up Messi, pick up somebody else, but don't pick up.
I would not pick Messi.
honestly, Balotelli has a good try, but I wouldn't give it him now just because he's not as high.
I love Ronaldo too. Penalty kicks. I feel like that guy just doesn't feel
Cristiano.
the pressure. Also, you know what? The funniest.
But not
the
right now,
funniest.
Cristiano.
I saw a tweet that said
Henry, what would you take? Excuse me.
he already said Balotelli.
Balotelli too? Ma che sei matto? Henry, you got a lot of wine.
There was a tweet that said the reason why Balotelli is so good at taking penalties is because he really doesn't care about the game. He doesn't care about anything,
That's funny.
so he feels no pressure even if he misses
That's
it.
a funny way to say it.
And
If
then
anything, I
Pirlo
will
is not
take
a bad
Mike.
one.
I will take Mike to take a penalty.
Okay,
Mike,
thanks.
what would you do if you took a penalty? If you had to take a penalty to save this guy?
He will send it to
Oops.
Greece.
All right, guys, that's it for today's podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe. We'll see you soon.